Heyo. Okay, so this is a tutorial on how I do hair because a friend of mine wanted to see it, so I decided why not just make a tutorial and like show it to you guys. So I want to show you guys how I do the hair. I'm sorry for how bad the hair thing looks. I kind of just wanted to rush doing it, since I'm not doing like a full body. I didn't feel like wasting a lot of effort into this stuff. Um, so what I would do is that I would use the tool bucket layer to fasten up the process, and then you're gonna find out that the edges are a bit ugly. That's where you start using a pen, any pen you want. You can use the dip part, you could use any pen you would like. And then like you start doing these to the outlines so it makes it look better. Or if you don't want the bucket tool, so you can make it look good in the first half, without any issues, you could just like use the pen, but it kind of takes a long process without the bucket. So I recommend using the bucket if you are trying to rush the whole situation, if you got what I mean. Also, make sure that when you do this, you make sure that you use the stabilizer at 10 and make the force thingy on. I'll put an image to it if I ever get enough motivation to do that. So basically, all you gotta do is keep on working with this until you finally completed and finished it all. Also, I want to say that you could, if you want, you don't have to put like the coloring over the outline. It could be under the outline if you'd like. It looks better for rendering and stuff like that if you want it to be below. And also, yeah. And also, if you find out that the outlines are too thin or so, you could make another layer and do the outlines that you want over. So they could look good enough. So don't worry about messing up at all. But obviously, like you could mess up, obviously, and that wouldn't be good, but you could fix it, which is the good thing about it. Because, like, you could just redo some outlines and stuff like that, or you could just remove that part of the color and redo it again. But I do recommend, instead of like removing the color from that part, you do the outline again because it might look better. Like, when you do the outline again, it might look better and it's a bit even easier process, if you get what I mean. Anyways, you might have some issues with the coloring because it takes the most time, but I promise you the shading is much easier and it's much more fun than the outline. The outline is not the outline. The coloring is the most part. Anyways, once we are finished with coloring our hair, we pick the same color but make it a bit of a darker color. We pick a darker color and then you use a different brush. I'll show the brush QR code later on. And don't randomly select a part, okay? Don't randomly like start shading. You have to pick a spot that you want. I've picked the spot that you're seeing right now. I'll circle it. That spot, I want every single strand of hair to be outlined to it. So I'll start doing some outlines and they're all connected to that one spot. Because once you could like select a spot that you want to outline, it will be better because you don't have to randomize anything and you can do the highlights as much as you want without it looking very random. If I'm making any I hope I'm making any sense to you guys right now. Anyways, you just keep on going with the outlines. You keep on doing this. It takes a while. Not actually, it doesn't take a while. It's much faster than the coloring. All you gotta do is do the outline like this and make sure you don't hit other outlines, because if you do, then you're just messing it up, and that's not good, obviously, and we don't want that. Keep on doing the outline thingy with the darker color. You gotta keep on going, and you gotta keep on like checking to make sure that it looks good. Once you have finished the outline process, you grab the layer and like not and if you don't like the color, you can make it a different color so it could match the outline, that shading color. You could change it a bit to make sure that it looks good, so it's suitable for what you want, for what you desire. Anyways, after you finish the picking the color, you duplicate the layer and you'll understand why in a bit. And then you grab the same brush that you use for this shadow outline thing, and then you start doing what I'm doing, which is basically like making everything darker. Only the hair part, like the hair is I can't explain the word. I don't know the word that I want to use. But anyways, you just keep on following what I'm doing. Also, make sure that every time you do this, you have to go back to make sure that it looks good, so it doesn't look very bad or something like that. You notice how it's like very. It looks like there's not sparkles. There's kind of like a highlight. A highlight. But obviously, you can't make it like too big, too small. There's gotta be like a small distance in between, but like can't be too tiny. It can't be too big of as a space between them, because once if you do that, then it won't look good. And also, once you do the hair, you have to like have some. The distance has to be like like with the brush. You have to use the brush. You can't make a circle. You can't make those shapes. You have to like keep on tapping the brush a bunch of times so you can get that result. I hope I'm making sense right now. Oh god. But like yeah, you keep on doing this and you have to keep on doing the process. Now remember, you have to have another layer with the outline with you have to use another layer. You have to double the layer basically. And once you have done all this, which it takes a bit of a time, not because like there's a lot of strands of hairs, but the issue is that like it takes a bunch of time because you want it to look like it's shiny, you want it to look good, you don't want it to look bad or something like that, and you have to keep on constantly going back to make sure that like it's suitable enough. And by the way, for the long hair, for like the hairs that have big chunks, you could make your like your brush a bit bigger so it could make it look better, but like not too big obviously, because you don't want the brush to actually go into the another chunk of hair, because then if it hits another chunk of hair it will mess it up, and that's not good at all. And you know, we don't want to mess up. So just go on and keep doing this and keep looking back, keep on looking back non-stop. It's one of the most important parts, because you have to make sure that they all look in sync and good, and you have to make sure that they don't look like they're touching or they don't look like they're too bad or something like that. Anyways, once you do this, you remember the other layer that we duplicated. We go to that layer we were making everything dark, and then lower the opacity for both. So like it was at first looking ugly, but then once you lower the opacity, it starts looking better, and that's obviously great, because that's what you want. And if you again don't like the outline color, like the shadow color, you can swap it. You can like try to change the coloring until you find the one that's suitable and is most satisfying for you. And that's what I did. I kept on working a bunch until I found like a color that was suitable enough. And boom. And then after that, what we do is that we grab the airbrush color, and like you have a dark color, we make it darker and then add this part. I don't know how to explain it, but like, and then you lower the opacity. Sometimes I do it also down there, cause why not? I can and I like to. And then you also do add and grab the original hair color and use the airbrush again to make the highlights. Sometimes you can do only on the first part, sometimes you can do on the second part. It's really up to you if you want what you want to do with it, because it's your choice, not mine. So you know, it's your choice on what you do. But let's say you don't like the green color, you can change it to another color and then you use hue, which will help you change the color of the hair that you want. Like you don't want it green, you want it brown, boom, you got it brown. But if you do want to do yellow, you'll have to do the whole thing, but do not pick a darker color of yellow for the shading and stuff like that. Pick a reddish color. That way it will help. Do not ever pick a darker shade of yellow. Anyways, on to the next thing. Let's say you want to have like highlights of your hair. Now what you're gonna do is that you see that chunk of hair that we had? Now you're gonna follow it and you're gonna do the whole same rotation again, but like not the whole hair, only the chunk that you want to be colored that way. And I recommend picking like any pen you want. Actually, I don't recommend a single pen. You can use any type of pen you want. It's important to do this, and then when you do that, you go to your eraser, lower the opacity a bit, and make it seem like it's fading out of it, and then go hue again, and boom, it looks perfect. It looks like it's suited for there. It doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good actually. By the way, and you can do different types of colors. You can also, let's say you want the bat down there, you can also do the same thing and hue again. And boom, you got it. And it looks pretty. It might not be as light, but it still looks pretty at least, and it doesn't look as bad because who would want the normal one? You would want the hue one, obviously. And it doesn't apply to only blue. You can pick other colors. It's free of selection. You can pick any type of color you want. You can pick red, you can pick green, you can pick purple. It's really any color you want. And I want to say something. If you do, you can pick all the colors to be all at the same time done. But if you do it, I would say that like do the colors that you want, and then you can erase. Don't ever erase after finishing one color, like, oh, I did this one layer, let me erase it and then like go on the other one. No, don't do that. You have to do the full colors, all of them together, and then you start erasing, because if you erase with like only one at a time, it wouldn't look good. If you want them all to be on the same layer, if each one is different layer, then it's your choice. You're free to do whatever you want. Anyways, that's all for the hair, and hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if the tutorial wasn't as helpful. I really tried my best, but I'm not really good with tutorials. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked how the hair looks, and I hope the tutorial was somewhat helpful. I'm not sure if it was, but I do recommend checking out other videos that like people make tutorials. They make better hairs and they make better tutorials, and you'll be able to understand more easier with them, because I'm not really good at explaining stuff.